Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, how do you convince a spouse to start investing in the stock market and other investment types when they are afraid to do anything more than have a savings account? Okay, this is very real and very common. I see this all the time where one spouse is enthusiastic and excited about investing and the other spouse is either afraid because they think it's too risky, because they don't understand it, because they think it's equivalent to gambling, because they heard or know of somebody who had a bad experience. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and it is the source of a lot of contention and fights, and just people are just upset because they just have a different vision of how to handle really their future, not the current situation. So it's not even mismanaging, the budget or things like that, but it's really a look forward at the future and, how to address that, financially. And I think one of the worst things is to begin to attack the person's character or attack their position even. So I think it should start with an acknowledgement of the person's concerns. So if the person says, I feel it's really risky, or, I'm really afraid of that because what if we lose? You have to acknowledge that because risk is real. Loss is real. A lack of understanding the how this works and the mechanisms, that's real. And it should be acknowledged. But once you acknowledge it, then you should try to get deeper into it. What is the root of this? Why are you afraid? What exactly are you afraid of? Where did this come from? Did this come from your personal experience or from witnessing somebody close to you who lost? Is it something you read? Is it something you're listening to? Really get to the root of that and then have an additional conversation about what it really is. So yes, there's risk, but there's risk in everything. If in your savings account, the risk is that inflation is going to beat whatever gains you get, and so you're going to lose money there, which they might be able to deal with in their minds, right? It's a small loss. But you can also talk about how to mitigate risk, right? Just so when you start talking about diversification and, so I think the real conversation starts to center around understanding the bigger picture, not just investing, but finances in general, compounded growth, risk mitigation strategies, the different vehicles that do exist that are easier to handle and less stressful, right? And so once you have this conversation, if they're open to increasing their financial education, you can do that with them. It can be something that you share, an experience that you share together, and so that it becomes easier for them to, to handle because you're there, right? And so once that happens, then I think you set it up easily. So you start with something simple like an index fund that's fully automated, that where money comes out of an account where they don't have to actually take the money and move it, because that might be part of the apprehension, the fear. Let it come out automatically, and it's well diversified. Tell not to even look at it every day, right? Don't even look at it once a month. Just set it and forget it, and set an amount that they're comfortable with in the beginning, and then as they see this thing is growing, you'll let it grow, let them feel a little bit more comfortable, let the education continue, and then you start venturing out into other investment types, and eventually even maybe more risky investment types. So it is a process. It is a process that requires empathy. It is a process that requires patience. But I don't think you should give up on it, because your future and your spouse's future really depend on making some changes if the only thing they're willing to do is a savings account. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've had this experience, what have you done? What are you trying? What worked? What didn't work? But please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.